Right.
I try not to look directly at it because it's super bright and it makes me see stars.
Oh my goodness.
Hello.
Hello, everybody. Welcome.
That was weird. Why do we do that?
I don't know. We welcome everybody to the show.
Yeah.
And today we have, it's episode 18,
Yes.
right? So thank you guys for coming along on this journey. But we have an awesome special guest for you today. Introducing, drum roll.
I introduce myself.
Yes.
Rhomer Varilla.
Hi, Rhomer.
Hello, Rhomer. He trains with us at Fluid Jiu Jitsu, and he's always fun to have around. And I like talking to him. He's fun, so.
Thank you.
He's got a lot of wisdom, as we like to say.
Wisdom?
Yeah.
What are you trying to say?
He has more years of experience than we do.
A lot more gray hair, for sure. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So
Did you see that picture that I sent in the group?
Yes.
So I actually had mostly black hair then.
Oh, with Javi in the background? Yeah,
Yes.
that was crazy. I couldn't even find you. I was like, which one is him?
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a blast. So yeah, I was going to ask you, how long have you been training?
Well, so I actually started in 2011.
Okay.
So let's see, I would have been 41 or so. A couple of young kids. And that changes everything. I was like, so your time gets constrained. So I started training at a place in West Dallas.
Okay.
Another place. And what I also learned around that time is a lot of things start happening to a man's body around 40, and that back problems, early onset of arthritis and tendonitis, and all those kinds of things. And the reason why it's kind of taken me this long of a journey is a combination of injuries. A hip toss took me out for about 10 months.
Wow.
So, throughout my back, went through this journey of, doctors, chiropractors, x-rays, and just figuring out how to take care of my body.
Yes.
Now I feel like I'm actually there, and that's why I'm back training much more regularly. Back then it was, I was going about twice a week, and then once a week, and then 0 times, just because I was on and off, and then all the kids' activities too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Busy.
Yeah, busy schedule.
Yeah.
How many kids do you have?
I've got 3.
Okay.
Yeah, a couple kids in high school.
Nice.
Yeah.
Do they train?
They did a long time ago,
Okay.
like when I was training, and that made it easier, right? Because
Yes.
that was a part of their thing.
Yeah, that's one thing that we love, that we do it together.
Yes.
It helps.
Absolutely, it does. But then, they got interested in other things. Like my son, they were both in other sports. Now my daughter's a little more into music and extracurriculars at school, and my son's still into sports. In fact,
definitely.
this afternoon I'm taking a basketball tournament.
Cool.
Oh, exciting.
So I have a A1 gi
Sure.
that I'll offer to anybody in the school because it's his old gi. I found it. He only used it like an A1. Cool. It's black and yellow.
Cool.
Cool.
Yeah.
This is actually an A0.
Break point. Okay, you can have it.
Awesome. Cool.
Well, that's the
Thanks.
fastest sold gi ever.
Yeah.
Less than 30 seconds sold.
Right. I'm like, everyone scratch that. Mark from the record. I'm taking it.
Oh, cool. Yeah, and now you found yourself at Fluid, hey? What brought you back?
Yeah. So, like I said, one of my kids are older, and kind of between my wife and I, able to kind of manage their schedule, and now they both drive. So that's a big deal.
Yeah. That's
2,
huge.
I think this is probably the bigger deal. Like I said, after a journey of doctors, chiropractors, yoga, and even diet a little bit, just trying to figure out my body, I finally figured out how to rest and recover from.
I don't know what that means.
From training. You're gonna at some point, because one thing that I think gets overlooked until you get into your upper 40s is that it's just more work.
That's what I've heard. Deanna said too that her husband, because she compares you and her husband a lot, he's just got 15 years on you. And she said, yeah, Rick used to be so much like how Nick is, just hyperactive all the time. And then as soon as he hit 40, he was calmed down. It was like, oh, I got 10 more years, man.
That sounds real familiar. But that's really the driver for me to come back, is understanding my body well enough, understanding its limitations, understanding where I can push, understanding what I do before a class and
Right.
after class, and when I'm not there. So that's it. Another thing that drew me to Fluid was just the sheer number of classes that I had. Because the place that I went to before did not have as many jiu-jitsu classes, which also made it difficult given all the things in my life, the health, the kids, the job.
Right.
Yeah.
It was just difficult to train that often. So it's really nice, the sheer number of classes and options that are at Fluid.
Right.
Yeah.
So you have like the 6 a.m. for the people who work first shift. You have the noon for the people who work second shift. And then you have the 7 for people who work first shift as well. And it just works out really well. That's why I didn't go to the church. Like when it started in the church, everyone's like, why didn't you start right when your dad opened? I'm like, because he had 3 classes a week and they were all at 7 o'clock and I was a server.
Yeah.
So I couldn't make it.
That's it. It was like, 4 and sometimes 5 nights a week at the old place at 7 o'clock. Mm-hmm. And it was great place to train. I still actually go there for some other things.
Oh, cool.
But I'm at Fluid now.
Awesome. And we love having you.
Fun.
It's great. It's super fun. I love that you show up on Tuesdays too, because I always tell people like Tuesdays are intense. Mm-hmm. So when we see people at Tuesdays, I'm like, yeah, you're in it. You're in it to win it. Got it.
Yeah. For me, it's just a matter of what's going on in my life.
Yeah.
That's the days that'll show up. So try to hit Monday or Tuesday or Wednesday or Thursday and then Saturday.
Yeah. So you try to go twice or 3 times.
2 to 3. Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
That's still good for most people.
Is that just because of your schedule?
Yeah.
Or, okay.
Yeah. I mean, but like just between work and my wife and her business and all that kind of stuff. Yeah.
And if it were up to you and it wasn't your work schedule, how many hours would you put in a week?
Well, I'll say instances because you may be there for an hour and a half, maybe longer. So I would say 3 to 4. I've got probably too many hobbies.
Sure.
So I don't know if you ever talked with Josh, but I'm working with Josh Janis, and one of the things that
shout out Josh Janis.
Yeah, my Odyssey.
Yeah, and he's made a difference when we started working with him.
Oh, cool.
Starting in I think early March, and one thing that we learned is that I try to do too much.
Yes.
Because I can, I think, but I'm not getting good at it as much. Which is much like jiu-jitsu.
Right.
That's very true.
Trying to do too many things at once instead of setting your focus on 1 or 2 things and getting better at those. And I think that's the evolution of jiu-jitsu too, that I know my dad talks about, that when you are focusing on things as a white belt, you should be focusing on one attack that you like the most and one guard that you like the most. Like explore other options, but figure out one place that you like to be and then figure out how to get there so that by the time you are a blue belt, you can get there from just about any position.
Yeah.
And then you have some system you can try to follow. Like I really like butterfly guard. And I really like loop chokes.
Yeah. Well, going back to the other place that I was training, because we had limited class schedule. Well, then I'd go on YouTube all the time, right?
Yeah,
and I bought DVDs, and I did the opposite of what I think you should be doing, and that is I watch all kinds of stuff,
yeah,
and tried all kinds of stuff. Was not good at all kinds of stuff, and never really got good at anything, right?
Okay.
So
makes sense.
So that's a long time, 2011 to now.
Yeah, yeah.
Wow.
What made you get started in the first place?
Well, I've done a number of things, since a kid. I mean, Taekwondo. I was a mediocre wrestler in high school.
Oh, really? I didn't know that about you.
Yeah, I was okay. It was.
That's so cool.
Yeah, it was either I won by pin or I got my ass kicked. So it was like and it was the handful of moves that I was really good at.
Yeah.
And then if I didn't get that, then I lost.
I really wish I wrestled in high school.
Mm-hmm.
I would have been great at it.
You didn't really do any activities
I
in
did
high
skateboarding.
school. But that has helped you, though. And that helped your cardio and everything, too.
Yeah, my cardio was good coming in, and my balance was fantastic coming in. And knowing how to fall.
And his shins are made of steel at this point, so anytime he gets a nice butterfly hook on you, it's like just pain.
Yeah, I basically, when people are holding Muay Thai pads, I still just kick right through the pads.
Yeah.
Because when you skateboard, the board will flip up into your shins all the time. So you can see
it's dense.
There's like dents in here, and it feels like it's like all ridged. It's like I have a saw blade shin.
Yeah, a serrated shin.
Yeah,
it's disgusting.
It's great. I love it.
Yeah.
But yeah, that helped me coming into jiu-jitsu for sure.
But Yeah, so I think one of the biggest reasons that we wanted to talk with Romer today is to give a little bit more insight on what it's like to compete as, how old are you?
I'm 50, about to be 51.
So over 40. Let's just say
When's
over
your
40.
birthday?
July 30th.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very cool.
So Naga is on
up.
July 10th,
Yeah.
and I'm trying to hit that, while I'm 50.
Yes.
Not a whole lot of, well, I'll say 0 other competitors in my division
Signed
right
up so
now. So depending upon how that goes, and depending upon my personal life, I may try to hit the 31st Grappling Industries.
Okay.
But then I'll be 51, right? So,
Yes.
and I might do both if that'll work
Really?
out too. Sure, why not?
Wow.
Why not?
Heck yeah.
And have you ever competed
do it.
before?
In jiu-jitsu, no.
Okay.
Sure.
No.
But wrestling,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah, I mean, that was high school,
Yeah.
right? So that's
Yeah.
a long time ago.
Right. But that's a bit different also.
Yeah.
So today is, May 30th. So if you
It
do
is?
July 10th,
Wow.
then we're about, what is that, like 7 weeks away?
Sure.
7-ish,
Yeah.
8-ish?
A month and a half. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So what are you doing right now to prepare?
Trying to come to class as much.
Yeah.
Although this week has been exceptional. I was actually out of town, so I went 0 times this
I
week.
know, I was going to say,
Oh,
I didn't see
yeah.
you this week.
Right.
So we're gonna roll after this.
We can. So it's to come to class as much. I have not. I'm just getting familiar with the scoring, the whole format. So Professor has a couple of times now has gone through kind of competition style format with the coaching, which is important to me to just kind of respond to that coaching.
Yes.
What's funny is a long time ago, like again when I started, I'd go to all the combat corner tournaments. Here's the fun thing: I have a video of Rose Namajunas as a white belt
What?
Wow.
in at West Dallas Central here.
Oh,
That's
that's so
awesome.
cool.
Yes.
At the what they call it, the Midwest Best and the
well,
Combat
before,
Corner.
yeah, before it was that, it was just called Combat Corner.
Oh wow.
Yeah, and it was like about once a quarter. So I'd go.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Dang, I wish I was wearing my combat corner gi right now then.
Yeah.
It's my blue one. It's my favorite one, actually. Out of all 4 that I have, it's
Oh,
my
really?
favorite one.
I do like them.
A lot of people say it too. They're like, I don't really like the combat corner gis very much. I'm like, really? Because it was my first gi, and it's still in the best condition out of all of them that I
Kind
have.
of old school.
Yeah.
Right. I mean.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's good
So
stuff.
it's go to class as much, and then really trying to hone in on my strengths first.
What you're
right.
best at,
Yeah.
where to get to.
Yeah, exactly.
Mhm.
I was trying. There's some things that I want to change, in the way that I roll, but
Yeah.
I'm not gonna try to change them until after.
Yeah, I'd say within a month and a half, you still have like 2 more weeks to try to learn a new style or new technique or anything like that. And then the month going into it, you want to focus on really
your
what
strengths
you're good
are.
at.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially for your first competition, for sure.
Now, one of my weaknesses is no gi, so that's another thing that I'm doing differently. In fact,
Yes.
I'm like, hey, can we take off the gis like when we roll? So I appreciate that very much.
Yeah.
Because that is the kind of opposite of my game because I use a lot of grips.
Yes.
And I'm trying to. That's the one thing that I'm going to try to change afterwards.
Yeah, a lot of people say that in order to be good at no gi, you have to wear the gi. That was the old wave of people, and now everybody coming in is like, no, don't train in the gi, and you're going to be good at no gi because you trained no gi so long.
Yeah.
It doesn't translate, but I do feel no gi translate 100% to gi.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, sure.
Even
Yeah.
yesterday when I was working with someone, I was holding their wrist even though they were wearing the gi, and they were like, oh, aren't you supposed to grab the sleeve? And I was like, I mean, I can, but the wrist also works because that's what you would do in no gi. If you were not wearing the sleeve, I wouldn't be able to grab the sleeve. So even though you are wearing it, I can at least grab your wrist, and then I still maintain the same control. And he's like, oh my god, that makes so much sense.
Yeah.
That was a no straight white belt, just so we're
That's funny.
Yeah, and actually in the gi, if you get an overhook or underhook, it's actually stronger to hold on to because you have the clothing.
Yeah. I think, remember what I said early on, I watched a ton of videos, probably saw too many techniques.
Oh, sure.
And I think the reason why I use a lot of grips now was because I would grip and hold and then literally go through my Rolodex in my head of what's next. In fact, so I used to train under, his name is Professor Ben Salas, Seamless Progression.
Sure.
And I was rolling with him, and he's like, I could feel you thinking.
Oh,
wow.
Right? Because I'd get, I'd get into like a reverse case or something,
Yeah.
and then kind of hold, and then literally just kind of sit there thinking. And
That's funny.
I still do that right now, and that's something I'm again trying to change.
Yeah.
It's trying to make it more flowy and
Yeah,
fluid.
trying to make it a habit.
Yeah.
And make it
Fluid.
yeah,
Ding, ding,
fluid.
ding.
A fluid habit.
Yep.
Where's all of our gongs right now?
Absolutely.
Yes. Yeah. Salas, you say. I competed against his son, I believe. Alex Salas.
Yeah.
And he's the only person. So I lost to him.
Mm-hmm.
And I was the only person he didn't beat in that competition. And I only lost by points. He submitted everybody else.
Yeah.
And I still felt bad because it's hard for me to get gold at a blue belt, apparently. It's only happened once.
Oh, you competed as a blue belt against him?
Yes.
So, like, 2?
What?
Because as a white belt, you competed, like, 10 times, and as a
Oh,
blue
yeah.
belt, you've competed twice.
Yes. That's absolutely correct. I think 3 times as blue belt.
Really?
Yeah, there was the Fuji, Grappling Industries, and then the Fuji again.
Mm-hmm.
And then I pulled out of the other Grappling Industries because I was injured.
Yeah.
In fact, I think he just got a new belt.
Got purple?
I think, yeah, when I went against
within
him.
the last 2 weeks, yeah.
Okay, that's cool. When I went against him, I think I was like a no stripe or a 1 stripe blue belt.
Okay.
Something like that. And
I mean, you guys are roughly on the same path then, too, because you're going to get yours in the next 6 months, too. So.
No, probably not.
Okay. Whatever.
Whatever.
Yeah.
But
He's a
yeah.
good kid. He's a
He
good
thinks he's
Yeah,
not
he was
good
fun.
enough to get a purple belt.
I mean, it's like, whatever.
kid. Yeah.
I just
think
want to
that's-
compete as a blue belt, but I guess I don't want to sandbag either, so it's whatever. You know.
Isn't that how everyone feels, though? They feel like they can always get better. Like, you're
Yeah, I mean,
never...
that's the key, right? I mean, like,
Yeah.
I don't know. I think I commented on something the other day about, like, I'm just looking to beat myself,
Oh, yeah.
right? You know what it was? I posted a picture of my registration on Smooth Comp, and it shows that I'm the only one.
Sure,
The
yeah.
closest person is 40 pounds heavier than me.
Yeah.
Basically, I'm willing to go up 15 pounds, down 15 years,
Mm-hmm.
maybe up a level if there's, if they got no stripes.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah, that happens sometimes. I've seen blue belts compete against white belts.
Well,
Or blues and purples.
Denise, the purple belt, who now is an affiliate of Fluid. Have you met her yet?
Yep.
So she's
Over
a purple
at
belt.
Sweeps
Yeah, Sweeps.
in Watoma.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Shout
And
out.
they're gonna be there too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But as a purple belt, I want to say it was December. I think it was the one that you were at. But in December, she was a no straight purple belt, and there was no one in her division. And so they actually moved I think she was a 2-stripe blue belt up to her, and then she just killed her. Got her in an armbar in like 30 seconds. And I was like, oh my God, that was so cool.
Well, and one thing that I just learned about Naga that I did not know is that it's single elimination.
Yeah, it is.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe going up is not a good idea because I at least know.
Want to get some matches.
Yeah.
That's why I was really like kind of surprised when you said you wanted to do Naga, because I was like, wow, I don't even want to do Naga.
The divisions are
competed.
different.
Yes, different weight classes.
Yeah, so
So, like, I don't think I'd have to cut weight for Naga, actually.
See, it's the opposite for me.
Yeah.
And at this point, at my age, it probably doesn't matter because there's hardly anybody at the, I guess it's the beginner level. But basically, I'm 160, and I can, and that's the top of the division that I'm in is 160.
Sure.
Whereas it's 170 in Grappling Industries.
Yep.
Yes.
Which is fine, but I think I'm more healthy. I'll say at 160.
Yes.
I can easily be 170, but I
Sure.
don't think I'll be.
Yeah, but it's like, would you really gain 10 pounds of muscle? Probably not. Just 10 pounds of extra side
Maybe
control
1
pressure.
pound. Maybe 1 pound.
Right, and you feel like you probably have more stamina at 160 too. So
That's right.
You might as well try to compete at what you're comfortable at
Absolutely.
instead of trying to cut or gain, because that can get a little intense.
Yeah. So with Grappling Industries at the end of July,
Mm-hmm.
if it even matters, like I said, with at the age that I'm at, because they don't even have the 50. It's 40 and above is the highest. Then I'd probably try to get to 155. It's
That's
not that
a good
far
idea.
off. I mean,
No,
I can
it's
do
not.
that.
That's where I'm at too. I'm at 140. I walk around at 140, and the divisions in Grappling Industries is 120 to 135, and then 135 to 150. So I've always competed in the 135 to 150 division, and if I do another one, I'm probably gonna try to cut and do 135 instead. And that way I'm beastie.
The strongest.
Now, I've got a question for you because I've been asked this. by Josh, actually.
Okay.
What was it like going into that first tournament? And let me put some context around that. After I registered, he's like, "Has it hit you yet? Like what you did? And are you I don't know what his exact words were, but like, are you kind of freaking out or anxious?" And my answer is no.
No,
Good.
It isn't.
Yeah.
And he's like, "Oh, it's gonna get to you." And
yes, you're just gonna wait for that.
and he's like, maybe it won't be until you actually step onto the mat and you see who you might be going against.
Look, you can see it on
I'm
here.
getting like butterflies thinking about it. It
Really?
just, yeah.
Yes.
Man, competition really messes with my head a lot.
I think maybe it's literally it might be my age, right? Because at my age in life, lay out all these kind of plans, right? Things that you want to do, things you want to succeed at, and some things don't work out, and you've got to figure out how to adapt. So I'm walking in there like just got to beat myself. I want to have at least two matches.
Yeah, that'd be good.
I'm
One gi,
doing
one no gi,
yeah,
right?
yeah. I'm doing I'm doing gi and no gi, right? So at
Yeah.
least at least the two, hopefully 3 more. But
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm not looking to try to win. Like rank doesn't matter so much to me. It's about me, right? Going back to why I'm training now. It's one, I don't like exercising.
Yeah. I feel the same way.
At all.
Yes.
I was just my son's in track. And I was just at a track
Oh
meet.
my goodness.
And I turned to some parents that that we know. I'm like, I don't know the last time I've run more than a mile. It's over 10 years.
Wow,
So
yeah.
I haven't done that, but I love going out on the mat, right? So that's about the only thing I do. Maybe that's not good, but I'll do that in pull-ups because I got a little pull-up bar in my closet.
There you go. That's
I don't
great.
think that's bad that that's all you do though, because that's a lot of people's replacement is they go on the mats rather than going to the gym. Like we both gave up our experience memberships very shortly after we joined Fluid.
Well,
Absolutely.
see, I just had this conversation with my wife yesterday at the basketball tournament because my son and I have a membership at a gym. He goes to shoot hoops. I'm like, and it's due in a couple months. I'm like, I'd rather just take that time and get on the mat now that I'm doing this more regularly, and I have that habit now, right? So
Absolutely.
that's what I'm gonna do.
Yeah.
Cool.
And also, I bet you if you are trying to train more, if you have more availability, like Fluid is a very open place that if you just posted on the chat and said, hey, who wants to roll or do we want to have an open mat tomorrow at 4 because I'm off and anyone else free, I'm sure you'd get at least one person to show up.
Then I will start doing that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Because if you're having this problem where you have availability to train and it's not at the times that we have, I'm sure someone else out of the 120 members that we have is in the same position.
Yeah. All right.
Which would be cool.
Don't yell at me when I'm like, yeah, I'll meet you there.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
But I think that's super cool. I feel like it's very brave to go into a first competition no matter what age you're at, but especially being where you're at in your life and your training and never having done it. Like, I commend you for that, and I really look up to you for doing that because I think that's
It is
amazing.
super awesome.
There's one thing actually I have 2 goals. One's just to do it.
Yeah.
And 2 to
Get over that mountain.
to not walk out with a broken arm. That's it.
Yes, absolutely.
I don't need to be on a podium. I don't.
Yeah.
You're not stubborn, though. The people that break their arms are the ones that are like, I'm not going to tap to anyone.
Yeah, there's some people like
Nicholas.
that. Hey, I still tapped, okay?
Yeah,
I thought I could get out of it
You
more.
debated on tapping.
I did debate
He
on
said
it.
in the middle of the arm bar, he
When I was
felt it
getting swept.
hyperextending, and he was like, should I tap or should I defend? I'm going to tap. And I was like, that was literally less than a second
In
that
the
you had to
tournament?
think about that.
In the tournament, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, should I keep going? No.
Yeah.
I asked myself that. But yeah, going back to the nerves that you asked about, every single time I compete, I still get that feeling. And it's basically an adrenaline rush. But I'm also holding myself to high standards. I really want to win. And I have this plan of me getting out to IBJJF and competing and becoming like some sort of high-ranking grappler in the future, which I would absolutely love because I have so much fun doing it to begin with. So
And I think you have the potential and the determination to get there, too, as long as you keep going at the rate that you're at if your wife doesn't tell you to stop.
yeah, we'll see. But I mean, ultimately, I have those visions in my head, and I know that every competition is a step to that. So I have those high standards every time I go out to compete, and I feel that it's a little bit of added pressure, but it's extra motivation for me to play smart, play strong, and do what I do on the mats well. Because I have close to 70 matches right now, and I have about 50 wins out of those
Nice.
70 matches, which is pretty good. I mean, right?
Yeah, no, that's awesome. And in fact, your vision and dedication to that actually is inspiring to me. As soon as I saw Naga on the 10th, and that was the next one that was local, I'm like, yeah, I'm doing that. And then I saw Grappling Industries pop up next. And then it took me a couple of weeks, and I'm like, yeah, I want to do that too. Like, because I'm watching you and how excited you are about it. I'm like, well, if that one goes out okay on the 10th, if I can make it, I'll do the next one, and I'll just keep on doing it. Why not?
I think Grappling Industries will give you the most experience too.
Absolutely.
Just because I know that when we were at the one in, was it January? There was 12 mats, and it ran till midnight. Like it started at 8 and it went till midnight with 12 mats. And so they said for this next one they're having 22 mats, which means that's how many people are signing up.
There's
for this
over
thing.
1,000 competitors registered last event.
Yeah,
I should check the
brackets on that.
to see what's going on.
There's probably
I would do.
it's probably a
I
good
know
showing
it's your
for that.
birthday, and I know it's the whole 51 thing for you. But
Yeah.
if you want to get more than 2 matches, I guarantee Grappling Industries will do that for you.
And then when you're on the
22
podium, we'll bring you a
mats.
birthday cake.
Yeah.
And a blue belt.
Hey.
Yeah.
We did that for a kid last time.
Really?
Yeah,
That's
he
cool.
won, and we told him. Well, we didn't tell him, but we told his dad. We're like, if he wins both of his matches, we're gonna give him a white and gray belt on the podium, and that's what we did. And it was super cool.
He went undefeated for the day and got a belt.
Yeah.
It was
Nice.
a great first competition experience for him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Shout out
Absolutely.
Isaac.
Oh yeah, cool.
Yeah.
He doesn't like it when we talk about him.
Yeah. No.
Last time we brought him up on the podcast, we rolled, and then he was just like, my dad told me that you were talking about me, and he said that you said I was 13. And I was like, well, how old are you? And he was like, I'm 11. And I was like, well, you should be proud that we called you older because you have a good demeanor to you. And he was just like, yeah, but I'm not 13.
Funny how the things that make importance to kids versus us.
Yeah.
That's crazy. But yeah, I know. I'm glad that you're not nervous at all because that was my biggest hurdle was overcoming those nerves. So
she actually gets sick before competition because she's nervous every time so far.
Like the last one, Miguel literally had to take care of me because I felt like I was going to just throw up everywhere.
I have no doubt
and
adrenaline. Adrenaline will probably kick in like the day of. So
especially before you step on the mat. Mm-hmm. Like you don't realize how fast it is from you stepping on the mat to the ref looking at you, and then he just says fight, and then you're like, oh.
And they don't
like
even
that
say
first
fight.
one. You
they
gotta
say it
be
in,
ready.
Portuguese.
Yeah, combate.
Combate.
Okay,
that's what they say.
That's another thing. I would
Yeah.
not, like, had you not told me, like, what happened, I'm like, what does that mean?
That
Then I would have been tossed.
Exactly.
The first time you said it,
I'd be like this, like,
what'd you say? Go.
Yeah, it was my first competition, and the girl I was going against, it had to be her first one too because he said kumbach, and we both looked at each other, and then we looked at him, and he looked at us and started laughing. He's like, "That means go." And we're like, "Oh!"
Yeah,
Timer's already started.
Yeah.
there you go. That's
it's good.
that'll probably be the most important thing that I learned going into the training is
when to
the
start.
Portuguese word to start.
Yeah.
Right. You guys probably saved me.
Oh man.
I do remember that now. I must have blocked that out in my memory because it was so embarrassing. But when that happened, I was like, "Oh, okay, I gotta go now." But the other thing too is some other thing that I want to let anyone know who's going to compete is that the way that I trained for my last competition is I really wanted to get my takedown. Like I worked super, super hard to get my takedown.
Mm-hmm.
And I worked with Adam Matson, shout out Adam. And we did some really cool takedown techniques where I was able to figure out a way that as soon as we bumped, I had the grip that I wanted to be able to snap them down and do whatever I wanted to do. And I drilled that till I had it down to a T. But when you're in competition, you don't slap bump and then go. What he does is they have you shake hands. You have to back up, and then he says kumbach. And I'm like,
okay.
dang it, I don't have my grips now. And like that just
you can't
messed up. Yeah, it messed up my entire game plan going in because I didn't have that.
Sometimes it happens that way where you just slap bump and then he says kumbach and then you're close. But sometimes they have you shake and then step back. It depends on the ref.
Okay.
So don't plan on being able to slap bump and then snap them down.
But the one thing you do plan on is immediately once the ref says go, anything goes. Like you just... Like for me, I immediately go for a takedown. Like the ref says kumbach and I'm there. And then they're like, oh!
Yeah.
Yeah.
I found that works because I just take them off guard every time.
Uh-huh.
Then half the time people pull guard on me.
That's interesting because I've been watching, all the YouTube videos from both Naga
Sure.
and Grappling Industries from my similar division, watching to see what people are doing.
Sure.
And they're not jumping off the line and doing that. So maybe.
But it makes sense in like your age bracket. People are not going to jump off the line.
Yeah.
But I do that as a tactic. Like, I want people on defense from the beginning of the match.
She's just crying.
Yeah, she's
very sad right now. She's sitting at the top of the stairs crying.
She's like, we have a friend over and I can't play with him.
And he smells like 2 other dogs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway.
But yeah, that's one of my tactics in competition. I want somebody. One of my philosophies in jiu-jitsu is make people react 100% of the time instead of letting them do anything they want to do. So no matter what position I'm in, I do some sort of attack, some sort of move to make them respond. And in competition, I do that as much as possible immediately from the start of the match. So if I'm charging, they have to respond to that and defend that versus me wait to see what kind of takedown they're going to try to me.
And having that reaction lag time.
Exactly.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, because if you're on top and in control, you're controlling the match the whole time if they're responding the whole time, right? And obviously that flips sometimes, that you mess up and then they take advantage of that or whatever. But yeah, that's one of my philosophies in jiu-jitsu. And I mean, you felt that yesterday. You were like, you made me feel dumb the whole match.
Yeah.
Now, going back to what you said about takedowns, despite the fact that I was an okay wrestler, I actually won more than I lost, but I wasn't really that good. Despite that, and because of my back, I have not done a lot of stand-up, right?
Yes.
So that's one of the reasons why I've been showing up on Tuesdays.
Yeah.
So my approach is I've got a couple of takedowns, and if I don't see them, then I'm going to pull guard. Is basically my strategy for this. For the next
there's no need to like hurt yourself or overexert yourself trying to go for a takedown. For sure. I get that too.
If you ever want to drill takedowns, though, I'll do them with you.
Okay.
Because I mean, I'm only 20 pounds lower than you, and we're both at roughly the same rank. Like, I know I have. You don't want to go under 15 years, and I know I'm behind that. But I mean, if you want to just practice some takedowns, I will do that with you.
For sure. For sure.
We still bounce off the ground, so.
Yeah. I just kind of crack and then melt into the ground. You know what I have been doing, and I actually talked with Josh about, is this the right thing to do, is over the last month, I've been really trying to roll with upper ranks.
Yeah.
Or, above. And one of the things that, in retrospect, I've learned was, well, that just puts me on the defensive all the time, and my offense is been lacking because of that. So I think I now need to switch gears a little bit. And then, when I saw that the next, the closest registrant was 200 pounds, like in that class, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna not only go with an upper belt, but I'm gonna roll with Brett.
Yeah.
And then I record my videos, right?
Yes.
And then after the fact, I'm like, what? Why? I mean,
does nothing.
That didn't help me, other than me consulting with him afterwards. And people have been great when I'll ask them about what I did or what they did, or sometimes something sneaks up on me. I'm like, oh, okay, like I didn't see that come in, and then they'll show me. So people have been really great over the last month.
That's one of the things I love about Fluid in general. It's everybody shares all the time. I don't know if that's how it is at most other gyms, but I feel like a lot of people like hold their stuff to their chest, like, figure it out, bro.
Yeah.
Like
I would say it's definitely more where I am now than where I was before.
Yeah. But yeah, I do enjoy that a lot.
So going into you train with upper belts, and then it makes you realize that you're on the defense. So I'm also in that same boat where when I roll with someone else who's higher than me, I typically am also on the defense as well. So what I like to do, and maybe this sounds a little bad, but I really love rolling with the kids, because then I can actually practice my technique and know that I'll get it. And then I can figure out where my hand placement should be. Because obviously, even if you're rolling with an adult who has less experience than you, they're going to be able to defend it a lot better than a kid can. Sure. So if I'm rolling with a kid, it's almost like rolling with a practice dummy.
Yeah, the kids suck at defending heel hooks.
Yeah. I suck at defending everything. But that's where you can like really figure out, like, okay, if my hand goes here, then that's how it's going to work. Whereas an adult, like, you have to figure out what cog you have to use in order to get that submission. Kids, you're just like, I'm going to do the whole thing. Oh, okay, no, my hand's wrong. Let me fix it type thing.
Yeah, yep.
So
that's true.
Kids are really good for my practicing. So if you ever come on a Friday and you want to beat a kid up, they love it. They love rolling with the adults.
What? Oh, so Is there a kid class before 7?
Yeah,
okay.
that's on Fridays though.
Yeah.
All they do in kids class on Fridays is roll.
Oh,
So
okay.
it's perfect. We let adults jump in there.
Yep.
All right.
Especially if there's like odd people.
Yeah.
But but yeah, I say it's good to train with upper belts so you learn that defense, and then it's also good to train with lower belts so you can learn some offense. And obviously, as a white belt, it's harder to learn offense because there's not as many lower belts.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then you want to go with the newbies, but then it's really hard to train attacks on newbies because they don't have regular movements or defenses of like real jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
Right? You get a no-stripe white belt that's all muscle, and he comes in, he's not going to move the way that a 3-stripe white belt is to defend a move.
Yeah.
There's a big difference in every stripe on a white belt versus like blue to purple, there's a difference. But not like a 3-stripe blue belt to a 1-stripe blue belt.
Or a 3-stripe blue to a 2-stripe purple. Like, they're roughly around the same. Roughly.
Yeah, it's not a huge difference.
But a 3-stripe white belt to a 1-stripe white belt is like, the 3-stripe white belt is going to kill you. Like, that's just how it goes. And actually, when I was a 2-stripe, I never wanted to roll with new guys because I knew that they were so strong.
Right?
Yeah. And that they would just fuck me.
Yes.
Yeah. And so I never wanted to, and I was always afraid of getting hurt. Even though I thought I knew enough that I could protect myself, I didn't think I knew enough to protect myself at the same time. But now that I have another year on that and I have more experience, now I go for every single new person. I'm like, you are what's going to attack me in the street, so I am going to kill you.
Yes, it's a good real life reality check.
Yeah.
Yeah,
with the new guys
aspect of it. Yeah.
And I would love rolling with the big, strong new guys because I show them my jiu-jitsu technique to just hold them and make them not move and then submit them, and then they're like, what happened?
Yeah.
It's like, that's jiu-jitsu.
Here's
not what you're doing.
Here's what I learned with newer, bigger white belts is that after a knee on belly class,
Yeah.
like, you don't want to roll them because
that's how that works.
Yeah. And like I said in that post, like, just about everybody in the gym, not everybody, but most people are either younger than me or bigger than me. So that's why I'm okay either, going up or changing divisions.
Yeah, because that's what you normally roll with anyways.
I mean, of course, the intensity is different, right? But
yeah.
I'm like, we'll see.
Yeah. And that's one thing, too, I would suggest is, I know soon, Wednesdays and Fridays, or Mondays, Wednesdays, Fridays, I don't know if he does it on Mondays, but Brett starts the class when people are warming up. He'll have half the mat be just competition rolls.
Oh, yeah. That was supposed to start this week.
Oh, good.
Yeah. So, especially Wednesday is good because no-gi. So then you get some competition no-gi rounds, right? And we try to match up with whoever is closest to our division in weight and belt or skill.
Yeah, I need to do that because it's exhausting.
It's crazy to roll for 5 minutes at full intensity.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know if you've heard the story, but I had a 29-minute match once because it was submission only.
Yeah. Oh.
There was no time limit, submission only. We were both white belts. I think he might have been blue, but we were in the beginner or intermediate no-gi. It was intermediate no-gi, and we both could not submit each other. It was awful.
Where was that? I mean, what?
It was Grappling Industries. It was submission only. Back when they had submission only tournaments.
They don't do it anymore, probably because of that match.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
But that was insane, and I ended up losing that match to a simple straight ankle lock because he couldn't submit me on the top half, and then he grabbed my leg once, and I was like, what? Because I was still like white belt. That was the longest match ever. When we were dead, there was one point in that match where the ref had to move us back to the middle, and we both rolled over like wet snails, leaving trails and everything to get back to the middle of the mat.
That was so funny too because we had 2 of our friends who had never been to a competition come to that match to watch. And they were asking me in the camera, like I was recording the whole time, and first off, my hand was getting tired from holding the camera for 29 minutes. Yeah. But at about I don't know, 16 minutes or something, my friend was like, do they normally go this long? I'm like, no, they don't.
Yeah, right.
It was wild. Yeah. But, I mean, just getting that experience is good. And sometimes if you want to build up stamina, I'll roll with you for 3 rounds in a row.
All right, let's do it.
That's a good way to do it, too. Dave and I, when we were going into that tournament, we did submission-only rolls for a while, and we would roll with each other for 20 minutes straight, which is good. That helped me.
Yeah, Ellie and I do that, too. We give each other, really long, 15-minute rolls just to get the stamina up, and we always are each other's training partner.
Yeah, and that's one of my favorite parts about jiu-jitsu is it works when you're tired if you know the technique.
Yeah. So I watched, of course, I watched a lot of get ready for your first tournament videos, right? And there's actually a lot of good advice.
Yeah, for sure.
And despite what I said about exercising, I probably need we just got an elliptical over COVID. So I should probably get on that. Worth the cardio back, because that was...
You know what you should do is go to Muay Thai. Talk about cardio.
Yeah.
That's a whole other level.
Yeah, right. And I watch you guys, and like everybody that comes off, I'm like, man, I applaud. Like everybody that's going, yeah, good job, man.
It's crazy.
I'm not doing that. So I'll start with my elliptical.
Good idea.
Progress.
So I think, I don't know if it was Keenan Cornelius.
He's awesome.
He said, I forget the total number, but the first thing was cardio.
Yeah.
And the third thing, I don't remember the second thing. The third thing I remember, and this leads to my question for you guys, is like, build yourself a playlist.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we both
so
have
now,
a competition.
Okay, so now my question is, you got, your headphones in or whatever. Like, can you bring your bag up to the mat? Like,
yeah.
Do you have all your stuff with
you can sit up next to your mat. You can bring all your stuff, and then basically there's a table that you can like off the edge of the mat. You just take your shoes off, right? Step on the mat.
Yeah.
And then you.
I just have another really big tip. Sorry, I'm going to say it before I forget it. The really big thing that you have to know before going in is you are not allowed to step on the mat until the ref welcomes you on it.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you have to wait with your toes off of the mat and wait for him to say, okay, come on, and then you bow and come in.
I remember my first tournament, like, I knew that was my mat, and I knew I was up next, so I got on the mat, and I started, like, rolling around, and he was like, get off. I was like, what? Brent was like, come here.
Sorry, I just wanted to say that while he said there's a side table. Continue.
Yeah, but yeah, then you have a table, you can put, like, a water, Gatorade, your drinks, and then you can just put your bag next to your sandals, take off your headphones. Normally, I have her hold my mouth guard case. And I do wear a mouth guard in competition because you can't trust competition.
Well,
I don't wear a mouth guard.
I wear a mouth guard almost all the time.
Okay.
Yeah.
The reason is that teeth are expensive to fix.
They really are.
So, that's the last thing you want to spend your money on. Is
it's true.
Fixing your teeth. So
it's true.
Yeah. And then I would have, like, whatever competition you're going to be in, we're more than likely going to be there. So I would have someone who's there watching you make sure that they have a Gatorade or a water ready for you right after you get off, because, I mean, you're probably going to be cotton mouth. It's going to be insane.
Right. Okay.
With all that adrenaline.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's a total dump afterwards.
Yep.
It's crazy. I love it.
And then I've got another question then. If you did have a full bracket, or at least some, like, what's the spacing of some of these matches?
Okay, the first time that I competed,
it changes.
This was the first time, right? And my division was full, so there's actually a couple brackets of white belts, and then they put those brackets together for the championship, right? But my first match, I was every other match for my 4 matches in a row.
Okay.
So there was only 5 matches, and I had 10 matches that day, and I had 5-minute roll, 5-minute break, 5-minute roll, 5-minute break.
Yeah.
For 4 times in a row. So I was the alternate
hydrate.
But sometimes it's not even 5 minutes, because if the one that goes right after you, if they get submitted in a minute, you're up.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
so they actually say you're not supposed to be leaving your area until your bracket is done.
Okay.
Yeah. So you want to stick around the mat.
If you walk away or you run to the bathroom and your match is up and they call you 3 times, if they call you 3 times, you're done. You're disqualified.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't think I'll run into that problem with my divisions, but it's good to know.
Yeah, but then sometimes you're the first match in the division, 4 matches go by, and then your match is up again. Okay. So then you got 20 minutes in between your match. Yeah.
And sometimes there's 2 in a row before you're up. Like, I know my last one, I think I was expecting to go up right after the next one, but then there was another one, and I was like, okay, cool, I get another, 5 minutes.
Yeah.
So it does change.
Here's another thing I did leading up to it, and maybe I'll do it again. I don't know if you saw. So, there's the Wisconsin Growing Strong BJJ Facebook group.
Yep.
You might have seen my post out there basically saying,
so.
Hey, this is what I'm doing, man, and not a lot of people register, so if you know anybody close to my division, encourage them to register. So
Absolutely.
I got very little response from people that I didn't know out there, so that was a little disappointing. So then I'm like, okay. Then I'm in a couple of other Facebook groups. Well, for a while, I was in the 40 and over BJJ group, and then I found out 50 and over BJJ group. So I'm in both of those, and I did the same thing. I'm like, hey, anybody near the Wisconsin Dells on this date, and if you know anybody, send them here. Here's the division that I'm in. hopefully somebody else, joins there. So not only did I do that, I messaged about 80% of the jiu-jitsu schools within
cool.
an hour radius around there. I'm like, hey, if you got anybody,
that's cool.
Send them.
Good for you.
Well, I want to match.
Trying to get a match, a real match.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
Good.
I'm glad you put yourself out there like that.
That's super cool.
Just trying,
So I do know, I wanted to bring up what Mike Coy has always said, because it's always kind of stuck with me, is that Mike Coy says that only 1% of the population trains jiu-jitsu, if that. So we're already in the disadvantage of the world of like trying to find matches and everything, because not that many people train. And then of that 1%, only like 1% compete.
Yeah.
So
yes,
it's kind of crazy if you think about the numbers in that perspective, and then trying to find someone exactly your rank and your size, like it's
which you're probably another 1%.
And then the higher belt you get, the harder it gets.
Yeah.
Like by the time you're purple, you maybe get one match, and they're probably not the same as you.
Yeah.
Which is kind of crazy.
It's getting harder and harder. Yeah.
Like I know Miguel, his last match, he was purple, and he went against the same guy, but I think the guy had 10 years on him.
Okay.
10 years younger?
Older.
Yeah.
Because Miguel's like 32, and I think this guy was in his 40s.
40.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So.
Miguel's a beast.
Shout out Miguel.
He really is. Love him. He's a beast.
Also very helpful though.
Yes.
When, a couple times that I've rolled with him recently. Yeah.
He knows his stuff. There's no denying that. Mm-hmm. But yeah, like the last competition, because I was training for it, and he was coaching because he was injured, and I was so sick. But because he was coaching, he couldn't like take care of me. And Miguel was like,
we had like 20 competitors, me and Brent coaching only.
Yeah, he was like talking me up. He's like, it's gonna be great. You're gonna be good. Your jiu-jitsu solid. You're gonna do this, and like drink this Pedialyte. And like if you saw I wasn't drinking, he's like, drink the Pedialyte. Yeah. I'm like, okay.
So. Yeah. You cannot deny that man.
Yeah, he's a good motivator for sure. Yeah. But no, I always think about that because Mike Coy is the one who told me that about the 1% and then the 1%. I'm like, wow, that's so crazy to think about. So just the fact that you are in that 1% that is now competing, I think is a win in itself.
There's probably yet another 1% at 50.
Yeah,
I know.
Yep.
Yes, because most people are going to be under 30. They're competing.
Yeah.
You know what? Okay, I just thought of this. So there is a guy who's going to be coming to our seminar. I actually met him at the last competition that we were at. He was a 4-stripe white belt in January when we were there, and he's in the
Sid?
Yes, I think he's 50 in the 50 and older bracket. And
where does he train?
He is like an hour away. I don't remember where.
So I probably sent a message to his school.
Maybe. Yeah. So Sid, I think you watch these. I think you listen to these. So if you can you respond and let us know where you train? But we will see him at Master Sour because I sent him the link. He's like, thanks so much, Brittany. I signed up. I'll see you in June. And
That's
I was like, awesome. So he'll be there.
He was our line buddy.
I met him in line for registration. He was sitting right behind me. And now we call each other line buddies. But he won gold in his 4-stripe white belt in January, and then he got his blue belt like the next week.
Yeah.
Okay. So he's gonna be right at your rank.
So now you have to make sure you come to his Master Sour.
Man, he's got some pounds on you. He's probably like 20, 30 pounds heavier, but he's gonna be good for you if you want to train with someone.
Yeah, I have not registered for Master Sour's.
That's okay, no pressure.
No, I want to. It's a matter of figuring out what's going on with my other family duties.
Mm-hmm.
Understandable.
So that's the only thing that makes me register for these things.
Sid, Rhomer, needs Sparky.
Yeah.
Come hang out with us. He wants to come to open mats. He keeps asking me all the time. He's like, when are your open mats again? When are your open mats again? I really need to come to your open mat. Sid, come to my open mat. Man.
Yeah, he's cool dude.
Yeah. And it's funny, we just met him standing in line. He was standing right behind me, and we were just talking about all the things.
This is at like weigh-ins or something?
Mm-hmm.
Or okay.
Yeah.
Do you typically weigh in the night before? Or
Grappling Industries doesn't let you.
Oh, okay.
Naga sometimes does.
They do for this one.
Okay,
so I'm
cool.
just like, I don't know.
If I can, I do.
Do it, yeah.
Yes. Because then I'm not like, I had that anxiety is off my plate.
Yeah, and then you could kind of eat and...
Right.
Because I'm right at the top, right? And
yes. Exactly. Right,
Yeah,
and normally I do have to cut weight. So if I have to cut like just a few pounds, nothing crazy. But that's a little bit of anxiety coming into the day. Like, am I going to make weight? And that's added energy. I can't focus on here's my game plan.
Yeah.
Here's, I feel healthy. Here's this, here's that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Again, with the registration so far, it might not matter to me. I'm gonna I'm gonna go whichever the closest person is. Hope for the best.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And then the other part about weighing in early is then you don't have to waste your time on the day of in line waiting to weigh in. And then you can just get right into like relaxing, listening to your music. Yeah. So I would create a playlist. I know we briefly touched on that, but like we both have a playlist. It's separate. Like my playlist is not his playlist and vice versa. But like I get anything that amps me up. So like I try not to do like super soothing, like calm music, like so I can relax. I really am just like, no, I need to go out there and I need to freaking murder someone.
We're fanning the flames of our adrenaline. Yeah. Bringing it up.
That's how my playlist has started, but I'm also trying to figure out whether or not I want the other, like a little more...
Right, so you can be like in a Zen meditative zone?
Yeah.
Make two.
That's what I'll probably do.
And that way you can pick and choose and then it's not on shuffle and you're all amped up and then I don't know
because if you are anxious, bring in the Zen, right? But then if you're like feeling it, you're getting ready, bring in the aggressive music.
All right.
Yeah, I have a few songs that I know every time I listen to them, I would be ready to compete at a drop of a pin.
Beartooth.
After I listen. Yeah, Beartooth, Issues.
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah, mine's Excision.
Some Attila. Excision, Sullivan King.
Yeah, Sullivan King. If I listen to Sullivan King, I'm ready. Let's
Shake
go.
the Ground.
I'm done.
Yeah, there's a song called Shake the Ground. It amps me up super big because I just imagine throwing someone to the ground.
So here's another challenge with this particular topic is that I have no idea who any of those I'm like, oh, is LL Cool J Mama Said Knock You Out on there? Because that's on mine. Or...
we all have our own taste.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Who would be on your playlist?
Well, that would be one. Yeah. Cool. Then there's... God, I wish I had my phone in front of me because my mind just went blank. Have you ever heard the song Number One Chief Raka?
I feel like I have heard that one actually.
So that's another one.
Who's that by?
I'll have to send it to you because I don't know.
Sure.
A lot of Public Enemy would be on mine.
Nice.
So
some old school rap, hey?
Yeah, basically.
Cool.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's all.
So that like low tempo rap, right? Kind of.
No, I mean sometimes, but sometimes I like Public Enemy is not low tempo.
Okay, I haven't really listened to them.
Yeah, right.
I'm thinking like Tupac type stuff.
No.
Yeah.
I'll send you my playlist.
Cool.
You can. Yeah.
We'll critique.
maybe it'll
probably
be
fun to
up
listen
for
to.
Yeah. What time is it?
No, we should do. We should have days at the gym where we raffle off someone gets to play their playlist. That would be cool.
I like that.
That would be fun.
I have ideas for the future.
Okay.
If I were ever in charge.
So I guess I kind of want to end on a note with you talking more about your age bracket and your lifestyle because we obviously have not been accustomed to that lifestyle. And I think this title will probably bring on some older listeners from like 40 and up. So what advice would you give to people who either are training or are thinking about training?
Or thinking about competing.
Yeah. So let's do the training and then that competition. Like I mentioned earlier, in the beginning of my 40s, when my body just started really behaving differently, it took a whole lot more work to rest and recover. It took me a while to learn what was happening and then to do things like, okay, this is probably the single most impactful thing. So I was having lower back problems. And it took years to figure out that it was really just my glutes were really tight all the time. So massage and stretching that out has made a big deal. So that helps me get to the mat, faster and more often.
Yes.
So that's one. It's learn your body.
Yeah. Everybody's different.
Yeah, absolutely. And it took me a while, like I said, doctors, chiropractors, yoga and stretching and all that kind of stuff to figure that out. Competition, I think. Signing up for the competition has made me more focused and made me want to get to class more often.
Yes.
And there's all kinds of benefits to getting to class more often. That is, for me, and I say this to a lot of people, me doing jiu-jitsu is actually not about the jiu-jitsu.
Okay.
It's about me doing something that's hard and me putting myself in
nothing much
position.
harder.
Something that challenges you.
Yeah, exactly. And I've said this for a decade. After a really stressful day at work, when somebody's sitting on your chest trying to choke you, there's nothing else you can think about. So everything leaves. Anyway, going back to the competition.
I love that though. On that same vein,
yeah,
it's physical meditation. That's one of my ways to describe jiu-jitsu.
Yeah,
physical and mental meditation at the same time.
For sure, and with meditation and what I used to do with yoga, you have to have the initiative and discipline to do that. Like it starts with you. But when somebody's sitting on your chest and trying to choke you, like it's all about like they're forcing you to do this.
Yes.
So you got to do it right now. It's like it's immediate.
Absolutely.
Right. Whereas, I'm trying to develop a habit of mindfulness and meditation, and it's work, right? But but it comes from within. But like I said, the jiu-jitsu, that's Nick coming out, trying to choke me. The tournament. I want to go to class more, and I want to develop the habit. And again, it actually isn't about jiu-jitsu. It's everything after the jiu-jitsu. It's about handling difficult things, being calm under pressure, breathing.
Yeah.
Like
it's huge.
I don't know if you've noticed, but every time you roll with me, like I'm always taking a couple of deep, slow breaths. I'll even close my eyes.
Yes.
So I use the tournament as a way of focus and goal to get to class more. I get to class more because of all the other stuff in my life.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
It's a great motivator. Once you sign up, you're like, oh, I have to do this now. And you're like, oh, I have to get ready.
It's a matter of focus, and in life there's just so many things to deal with.
That can pull you out.
The work, the house, in my case, the kids. I was just in Florida this week. That's why I wasn't in class, because there's a death in my extended family, and I was traveling with my parents. So just like all of those things, but getting to the mat actually just and the training. The tournament just kind of prioritizes things for me.
Yeah, it aligns it. There's more congruence in what you're doing.
It's going to consume your life for the next 6 weeks.
That's fine. And that's what I did it for.
That's awesome.
That's great.
Yeah.
Super happy to hear that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm happy that you guys are helping me train.
Yeah, we love to have you. It's super fun. As always, jiu-jitsu is just so beneficial for life, I'd say. And I've heard it said from many different people, but I do believe it's like one of the number one greatest activities you can do to improve the rest of your life.
Yeah.
That's why I do it.
Yeah. It works out your body, works out your mind, makes you think more about life in general. Like you said, you can respond to life better instead of reacting. And it's physical meditation, mental meditation, and
it's just
you get
fun.
fitter, you lose weight, you have fun.
Go
on and on and on, right?
Gain new friends.
There's another aspect that I love about it. It's the problem solving.
Oh, yes.
Right. So, it's whenever you're rolling, there's this complex problem and changing problem in front of you. So it's to solve that problem, but also anticipate the next iteration of that problem. And again, I train in jiu-jitsu not because of the jiu-jitsu. Being on the mat, it's how I apply it outside.
Yes.
I found myself.
I found myself doing that.
Yeah.
Many different areas in life. Like, let's try something else. I'm running into this wall. There's some reason.
Yeah. Well, I've got this mantra kind of in my head on the mat, which then applies outside. And I just talked about taking the deep breath when I'm rolling. It's take a deep breath. Close your eyes, which I do.
Yes.
And then I say apply the training.
Sure.
So that's again where Ben Salas would be like, I can feel you thinking, but that's what I do.
Right.
Yes.
That's what I do right now.
Yeah, and it's important.
Ted?
Yeah.
Ted would be a good one too. For you.
Yeah. That would be a good training partner.
I think he does a lot of the early.
He comes at 6 a.m.
Yeah.
He was just telling me yesterday though that he's trying to plan 1 week a month where he comes to night classes.
Oh.
So hopefully he'll be
doing
that soon, and then we can get some more training time with him. Because he was just saying to me, he was like, I mean, don't get me wrong, I love the morning people, but it's just the morning people that I train with, and it would be nice to just get some more exposure and more bodies and more technique and just change it up a little bit.
Yeah. I've been wanting to get to the 6 a.m. one. I will this summer. That's another reason why I came to Fluid. Was just the sheer number of people and different body types, ages, and all that kind of stuff. I was just at a smaller school prior, which great school.
Right.
I'm happy to have started there.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, I love that. Also at Fluid, it's not like a killer mindset. Mm-hmm. It's more of a learning growth mindset than like I want to beat you in every roll mindset.
Yeah, absolutely.
That helps. A rising tide raises all ships.
Right.
And back to your earlier point, you say you think a lot when you're doing stuff. Like that's an important trap not to get caught in life in general. Right?
Yeah. I don't overthink.
Brittany knows. She gave me a little smirk.
Yeah.
She does that all the time. And I used to do that a lot too, thinking of all the possibilities. Right? And that becomes a hindrance.
Yeah, absolutely.
If we stay there too long. Which jiu-jitsu forces you to get through that. Yeah. As you're saying.
Yeah. And really adapt more rather than kind of control everything.
Right. Yeah. And one of the best things to do in life, if you're stuck in any position, is do something. And then you're going to move forward. You're going to learn from it, good or bad. But then you can continue to do things instead of getting stuck where you are in life.
In you jiu-jitsu plan on training for the rest of your life until you can't anymore?
Yeah, I do. And, one reason is really to show my kids that this is what I do. Like, in fact, Josh of a few weeks ago told me, like, yeah, you know what you just did? You did something that you've never done before, and that is register for a grappling tournament. I'm like, yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
And then it was the next week, so I've got a 16-year-old son and a 17-year-old daughter, and I'm always trying to share some bit of wisdom, whether they like it or not.
Yeah.
I'm like, hey, I did something last week that I've never done before. I registered for this tournament, and I want to tell you, like, do the hard things, because it's gonna make things easier. Just keep on doing the hard things.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's such a good life lesson too.
Yeah, I love that too.
Yeah,
and I've pushed myself to do that in a few different ways in life.
Yeah,
and I've been much happier for it. And then no regrets, right?
Yeah. And it's hard for me. I mean, honestly, it's like, after I roll, I take some time and before I get back on the mat, you see me show up early, I'll tape up, I'll compression up, I'll wrap everything up, because otherwise I start falling apart, literally. So that's what I got to do now. And I didn't start that way, but that's where I'm at now, and it keeps me going.
But if it's not hard, it wouldn't be worth doing, right?
Yeah. Well, that's awesome. Well, I had a great time having you on our show today.
Yeah, thanks so much.
Thank you.
Really appreciated the talk. Yes, where can people find you?
Well, Fluid Jiu Jitsu.
Right? 10.
Right.
Come on.
There you go. And I'll try to show up on a morning.
Yeah. Very cool.
Well, this was very fun.
Yes.
Got some new insight on things that obviously our minds can't comprehend right now for a couple more years, but it was very cool to hear all of your wisdom, as I like to say.
Oh, thank you. If I could do one more thing.
Yeah.
And ask anybody within 100-mile radius of the Dells that's, plus or minus 50 years old in the lightweight class, beginner, register.
Yeah.
Okay. Absolutely.
It's like begging, right? I'm just begging for a match.
You'll get it. Right. Someone will do it.
Well, thanks so much, guys.
Thank you.